What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Ray's Hell Zell here with a live video, man. In this video, I just want to go over the Trey Amos draft pick, and I want to talk a little bit about why he will be the missing piece this year, especially with the way things are shaping up in the division. George Pickens coming over from the Steelers. He is now a part of the Cowboys, and this trade now makes a lot more sense because we're going to need the depth on our defensive back end to guard these guys. I mean, not only do we have George Pickens over there, but the Cowboys, we obviously have CeeDee Lamb, and then you already know about the duo with the Eagles. And the rookie over there with the Giants, Malik Neighbors. Can't forget about him as well. So this pick makes a lot more sense when you put it into perspective, and I think this will be the missing piece. It's not even that, adding him and he's a second round pick, and for me, if you're top three, top 3 rounds of getting drafted, I expect you to be a starter. Now you don't have to be starting on offense or defense, but you at least got to be a starter on special teams or something. Somewhere you're coming in, and I would expect you to compete for that starting role. He was a second round pick, so he's coming in, and for me and most people, we expect him to start immediately, right? With that being said, there was some news that came out earlier today. I had seen it from JP Finley. He had released that this is a quote from an AFC executive, so we don't know exactly who it is, but I think he had got it from Jeremy Fowler, but I had seen JP Finley post about it. So he was like, and this is in terms of Trey Amos. Multiple teams discovered a back injury in the pre-draft process. This wasn't a major red flag for some teams, but it was at least a mild concern that probably caused him to slide a bit. One AFC executive said, end quote. So with that being said, after we drafted him, a lot of people were talking about like, hey, a lot of people had him going in the first round. They didn't realize that he would be there in the second round, especially 61st pick overall, right? So this kind of gives context as to maybe why some teams were hesitant to draft him earlier than they did. But either way, I think it's I don't think his back will be a concern. This is my first time hearing about it, and they're saying it's not a major red flag. If you remember last year, that we had Jer'Zhan Newton came in, he fell to the second round for a similar reason, but his injuries had to do with his foot. And then he had immediately, I wouldn't say immediately after the draft, but right after the draft, he had surgery on both his feet, so he wasn't ready to really go early in the season. So he had to, miss time with the team and on field, things as he was getting his body back to where it needed to be. So I feel like this is kind of a similar situation. Now they're saying it's not as major, so I don't think we expect him to have surgery or anything like that. It was a red. I mean, this AFC executive said it was a flag that possibly could have seen fall down. And I remember, going into the draft, I had him late first, early second as well. So I was surprised when we picked him at 61. And I know a lot of our fans, and me included, we expected maybe a defensive end to be one of the first or two picks, but that just didn't shape out the way the board fell. They stuck to their guns, and they stuck to the best player available. That's why they made the moves in the offseason of filling roles, so that they didn't go into the draft needing to fill a role with a rookie. So with that being said, George Pickens going to the Cowboys makes a lot of sense because we're going to need 2 aggressive cornerbacks on this roster. Joe Witt Jr., Dan Quinn, their defense, they play a lot of the cornerbacks play a lot of press man, and he's a press man cornerback. That's what he does. That's what he excels at. strong at press, strong at being physical, first 5 yards off the line. He's also made some strides this year. He can play zone as well. I'm gonna play some highlights for y'all shortly, but he can play zone as well. Seen a pick he had where he was playing zone, turned around, came back around, picked it off in a team's end zone. So he's very versatile. He's physical. He has a very good ball tracking ability. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and just pull this up for y'all right now, because so y'all can see some of these things that I was looking at. We really didn't have this last season. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore can do some of the similar things he does, but he was battling an injury all season. Mikey Sanders still has good ball tracking skills as well, but now he can go back to his real position, his natural position that's in the slot, right? And we don't have to force him outside like we had to do last season. And now our depth in the cornerback room, we have two solid depth pieces in the cornerback room with Jonathan Jones and Noah Al, right? Those are two premium backups that can start for a lot of ball clubs in this league, especially Jonathan Jones. He was started last season. So our cornerback room essentially went from, in 1 year, right? Benjamin St. Juice, Michael Forbes, Forbes Jr. I can't remember his first name. It's just skipping me. I don't know why I can't remember his name, but Forbes Jr. and coming into the league, coming into the season, a lot of us expected Mikey Sanders would just be the slot. Now Mikey can actually play the slot now and not have to be outside. And we have two major upgrades with Marshawn Lattimore and Trey Amos. And he was the missing piece. He's, in my mind, he's the missing piece, and it may not be as much as a need that in terms of pass rushing, but now we can compete with these duos that we have in our division. Now we don't have to put Mikey out there and have to put Noah. Noah played really well for us in the slot last season. I'm not going to lie to you, but there were times that he got a little bit too handsy, and he was called for flags on that. So this bolsters this makes a lot of more sense, and with the news coming out with George Pickens, that makes it even better. And the biggest knock that I will put in regards to Trey Amos is that his tackling. He's not the best tackler, right? But most corners in the league aren't the best tacklers. You Witherspoon for the Seahawks is a outlier. Ramsey for the Dolphins, he's a pretty good tackler, but most guys, they're not the best tacklers at the cornerback position. Is it a plus to have somebody that can really tackle 100% of the time or 99% of the time? Yes, but most of the time, he's not. Most of the time, these guys aren't the best tacklers. But what he is a ball tracking. He had 13 deflections last year. 13 pass deflections last year. That's crazy, bro. And on top of that, three interceptions. And a lot of teams just weren't even throwing his way. With that being said, and he still racked up 50 total tackles as a cornerback. So he's really gonna come in and be able to help this defense a lot, especially with the way we run our defense. It's going to be, something that we're not used to seeing over the last few years. We have two lockdown core, because I think Marshawn Lattimore is going to take that next step from last season, because I expect him to be 100% healthy going into this season, and I expect him to play like the Marshawn Lattimore that we know he can play, like he played with the Saints. So when you couple that with Trey Amos, rookie cornerback, and Mikey Sanders who was a really good rookie cornerback last season, now playing in his natural position, now you're looking at one of the better cornerback groups in the league, in my opinion, right? You're looking at guys who make a difference. I feel like very on in the season, Joe Wood Jr. isn't going to have a problem with, he's not going to have a problem with, leaving Marshawn Lattimore out there or leaving Trey Amos out there once we get comfortable in our defensive sets and everybody knows what they're doing. mid to late season, he's going to be comfortable with that. Then we can load the box against the run or rush for Louisville off the edge and do all these different things that we really want to do because we can trust in those guys on the outside, right? So that's why I think he's the missing piece because it's a trickle down effect. It makes everything better. Again, coming into the draft, I wanted a defensive edge, right? But is it fair for us to get let's say we drafted a defensive edge late in the first round. Let's say we got Donovan Azaraku. Is it fair to come in and ask Donovan Azaraku as a rookie to come in and be that our best pass rusher and rack up all these sacks? Like, if we did draft Donovan Azaraku and he came in and got 7-8 sacks, I feel like that's successful. With that being said, I feel like some of the guys that we got on here can get 7-8 sacks too that we already have on the roster. Now, it may not be all for one guy because we have a lot of depth, but you know, some one guy might get like 5, another guy might get like 4, and they're sharing reps. So that together makes about 9 or 10. So, and I think that's the thought process that Adam Peters and Joe Wood Jr. and Dan Quinn were going through when they made the decision not to try to reach and get a defensive end in the first or second when we can just get the best player and they can come in and immediately help. So Trey Amos will make this defense a lot better, a lot better. Because now we got 2 cornerbacks who are comfortable and used to playing on the outside. Last year, Sanders still got better and better as the season was going on, but you could tell he wasn't used to it, especially early on. But now he can, like I said, go back to his regular position and it just shore up the whole room. Now we got 5 guys and cornerbacks that we can really rotate in and out and feel comfortable about. If someone goes down, slide Noah I back in there, slide Jonathan Jones back in there. And we could take it from there. It's just a crazy how in 1 year this cornerback room just turned around. Not alone the team, but just the cornerback room just turned around. And it's really amazing. And I can't wait for the season, man. I really cannot wait for the season. Also, I didn't make a video before I get up out of here because it's going to be a little bit of shorter video. But I just wanted to mention, draft coming 2027 on the National Mall. I'm going to definitely be there. I got to pull up for that. I'm currently living in North Carolina, but North Carolina, Charlotte area. And I'm making that drive. Born and raised in DC, got to make it back out there. But I'm currently living in Charlotte. It's a lot of Commanders fans out here, by the way, too, man. I didn't realize that before I moved down here, but it's a lot of Commanders fans. So that's exciting, man. And I was reading one report, our owner, I can't remember his name right now, but he's pretty much putting up bulk. I think it's like 70-75% of the stadium that we're getting, and the rest is coming from the city. So I think that's like 500 million or 700 million. The revenue that's going to come in from this from this draft is going to cover most of that. So it's essentially the city, hopefully, if everything works how it's supposed to work out, the city pretty much will make their money back on the stadium deal. And that's just crazy to think about, man, that we got in a a year and a half spanned. What was it? Year and a half spanned to 2 years. We got Adam Peters. We got Dan Quinn. Then we got Cliff Kingsbury. All right, that alone is much better than we've had. We have because Cliff Kingsbury is known for offensive mind and genius. Dan Quinn is known for a leader of men. Players love, Dan Quinn. He's a player's coach. And AP, even though he hasn't had a general manager role, but he's come from San Francisco with a very, very good track record. People spoke highly of him. So just those 3 dudes coming in at the same time speaks to you like this is different. And then on top of that, we draft JD5, goes on to have the best rookie season for a quarterback ever. We make it all the way to the we make it all the way to the NFC Championship game. They announced the stadium deal, best looking stadium most expensive stadium, all that. The stadium's gonna look crazy with the glass roof and all that. And now we got the draft. So I just want to mention that, man, because it's a time to be alive for Commanders, Redskins, Washington Football, whatever you want to call them. It's a time to be alive for us, and we got to make note of that because and enjoy this moment. Enjoy this moment because we deserve it, and you gotta enjoy these moments. So that's all I got for y'all, man. Please like, subscribe, and comment if y'all like this video. If y'all agree with me that Trey Amos is the missing piece for this defense, and with the George Pickens move coming over, this makes even more sense now. And I'm actually even more glad and happy that we picked him up because we're gonna need some knockdown physical press corners. That's what we're gonna need, and that's what he excels at. So, like I said, like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what y'all think, man. And I'll see y'all next time. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Thank you for watching. Peace out.